after midnight, and something evil might indeed be lurking in the dark, but in Penn State's case, it was not the Illinois Fighting Illini. No upset to report from Beaver Stadium. It wasn't as easy as it maybe could have been, but Penn State did ultimately take care of business with a 21-7 win over Illinois to improve to 4-0. And with the results of the Alabama-Georgia game, with Ole Miss going down to Kentucky, Penn State, you would think, will move up at least 2 spots in the AP rankings. Disney Sports Now, I'm Joe Smeltzer here with Jarrod Prugar as always. And Jarrod, the Big Ten has seen a lot of changes over the past 2 years with expansion, teams coming in from California, Oregon, and Washington, but there's still, Big Ten football is still Big Ten football, and this was a pretty vintage Big Ten football game. That 21-7 score is a little deceiving, I think, for 2 reasons. One, it was in one way closer than the final score indicated because it was a one-possession game for all of it until Patron Allen's touchdown in the final 2 minutes really sealed the deal. But 2, it was also deceiving the other way because it really wasn't as close as that because Penn State dominated this football game. Won the total yardage battle by 145, held Illinois to 1.1 yards per carry for the game, had one running back go over 100 yards and another come close to going over 100 yards. He scored a touchdown. Really, the only thing to complain about if you're a Penn State fan is you got to make your field goals. But that's a relatively minor gripe in the grand scheme of things. Overall, a pretty solid day at the office for Penn State, especially on defense.
Right, and Penn State dominated defensively outside of that first drive. I want to say that after that 75-yard drive to start the game, they only got 144 total yards from that point on. And when you're able to do that, the scoreboard might not have reflected that it was that dominant, but Penn State gets out here with a ranked win. They should improve in the polls, and they're 4-0. That's all that matters. I mean, it doesn't matter how much you dominate, although it is nice to see that Abdul Carter had a nice coming-of-age game at the D-line, and when you're able to get performances like his and Kobe King and even Zane Durant, that's really good for your defense.
Yeah, and the guys you mentioned, they're going to get more headlines probably than anybody on the offensive line. But how about this? I mean, last season you have Olu Fashanu, one of the very best in the country, and borderline top 10 pick. He won 11 overall to the Jets. You have Hunter Norzad, he's in the NFL. Caden Wallace, he's in the NFL. All those guys are gone. And this is an offensive line that has a lot of experience individually, hasn't really played all together that much, but only 4 weeks in, it really doesn't look like Phil Trautwein's unit has lost a step at all. And I think in blocking for the run, they're even better than they were last season.
Yeah, they have some nice wide splits. The running scheme this year is far superior than what they ran under Gearsich. But they're really, I mean, I think Patron Allen and Nicholas Singleton are 2 of the best backs, if not the 2 best running back tandem backs in the nation. And when you're able to do that and have that production, I mean, one had 102 yards, another one had 94 yards. One averaged 5.7 yards, the other one averaged 5.9 yards a carry. And that type of both parallelness, if that's even a word, speaks volumes to what they're being able to do up front and what's working well offensively. There were points in time where they abandoned the run in the first half, but in the second half they fed their backs and it worked out. And yes, they left a lot of points on the scoreboard. Probably could have covered, and Sanders Haydick made a couple of his extra points, or even if they get that 4th down conversion in the first half. But again, they get a win, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, you mentioned Sander, and we got to talk about the negatives, right? Missing 2 40-yard field goals. There was another instance in the game where Penn State had a 4th and 3 in the red zone and could have went up by 2 possessions in the 4th quarter, but they decided to go for it on 4th and 3. Julian Fleming just scored 6, and that was a pretty good indicator of kind of, I think, where James Franklin was with the special teams unit. And this is really a tough thing because last season Sander obviously missed the 2 against West Virginia, ends up getting benched for Alex Felkins, who was really lights out for the rest of the season. Now it looks like we might be seeing a similar type of deal. We have 2 guys. You have Chase Meyer, the Tulsa transfer. He's played a lot of D1 football. And you have Ryan Barker, who, even though we haven't really seen him do a whole lot in game, he was the guy that kicked the last extra point. And is that an indicator that he's going to be the one to start against UCLA next weekend? I think it very well could be. History might be repeating itself, as unfortunate as that really is for a guy that's really invested a lot by all accounts into this program.
Yeah, I mean, for Sahadic, you hate to see it. It reminded me a lot of Sam Ficken years and years ago. But Ficken was able to figure it out and then ended up playing in the league. So obviously that's a long way away for Sahadic, but you gotta have to be consistent. You can't leave points on the scoreboard in Big Ten. But again, they were able to withstand that. But this game is easily a 27 point or 27-7 game or 28-7 game with those field goals, even maybe a 30+ point game. And when you're able to still win without those points, that speaks to the talent of this team and the ability to score. And they're still barely scratching the surface of this offense and defense too, because I think they're really starting to come of age defensively. And when that happens, it's going to be an impressive defense.
Absolutely. Well, getting to our main takeaways, I'll go with mine first. My takeaway is that this defense is still capable of winning a game by itself, pretty much. And when I say by itself, I don't mean the offense didn't do anything today. I think the offense was pretty effective for the most part, just couldn't really finish drives on special teams. But this defense is capable of carrying Penn State to a win, which we've seen it do, obviously, in the Manny Diaz era, and then really throughout the history of Penn State football. Tom Allen's unit, there were some question marks within these first 3 games. The Bowling Green first half was not good at the least, right? West Virginia was very good, but the offense kind of sort of headlines that game. And then Penn State, you really can't tell too much playing a team like Penn State, but here you have a team that's ranked in the top 20, a quarterback that came in hot, and it was really a dominant effort. And I think this Penn State unit, I don't want to compare it to the Manny Diaz teams, but this is going to be a team that's very capable of upholding that strong defensive position of Penn State. And not to mention, they're doing this without arguably their most important player in KJ Winston, who's going to be out for a while. That's my takeaway, Jarrod. What's yours?
Mine is Malcolm Carter was a monster, especially in that final drive. He had a forced fumble and a sack. He had a 1.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss. And he was playing both linebacker and DN. He's a stand-up guy as well. I would imagine we're going to see that a little bit more with the injury to Dom DeLuca. But for Carter, he's only, again, scratching that surface as a defensive lineman and a defensive end. And if he's able to really start to hone in his craft, he's going to be an even bigger monster if he can stay on side.
Yeah, we're getting close to the halfway point of the Penn State football season. It's really flying by, but we still have a lot of football left. Haven't even reached October yet. Yeah, big win. Penn State 21-7 over Illinois at Beaver Stadium. For Jarrod Prugar, I'm Joe Smeltzer. Check us out on Mini Sports Now. We'll have plenty of content for you throughout Sunday and for the days ahead leading into Saturday's game against UCLA at noon here at Beaver Stadium.